Welcome to the 8th session of statistics. In the last class, we have discussed about the qualitative and quantitative classification. In today's class, let me discuss related to that concept itself, frequency distribution. So before going to discuss the frequency distribution, you should know what is meant by frequency first. So, here the frequency. In the last class, I have given two examples for quantitative data. One is a height of the students and one more example is a number of apples per box. I have given the two examples. Let me consider the same example itself so that I can explain the frequency term. So before that, let me discuss frequency. Frequency is the number of times an observation is repeated and observation is repeated, then we call it as a frequency. So, for example, in a classroom, if I conduct the exam out of 50 marks, then I wanted to know how many students have scored 45 marks in a test. So, here out of 50, I have conducted examination and I wanted to know how many students have scored the marks 45. In the classroom, there may be four students. Four students, they have scored 45 marks. That means that the four students is the frequency. Ali, four students 45 marks they 1, 2, 3, 4 students. So 4 students have scored 45 marks. That means the 4 is a frequency of that number. So frequency is a number of times an observation is repeated is known as a frequency. For example, I consider the same example which I have given in the last session. So here the first example is example 1. Height of the students in a classroom in terms of centimeters. Height of students in terms of centimeters, that is height and the number of students. So here 140 to 150 centimeter, 150 to 160 centimeter, 160 to 170 centimeter, like this. So here the number of students may be 6, 5, 4, like this. So this is what the frequency distribution. So here 6 students, that means 6 students coming under this group. They have their height may be 140 to 150 centimeter. In this range, how many students will come? There are 6 students. ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ 6 students ಈ height range ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. There may be ಅಲ್ಲಿ 140 to 150 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ there are so many numbers. 140 ಇಂದ 150 ತನಕ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಇರಬಹುದು? 141 ಇರಬಹುದು, 142.5 ಇರಬಹುದು, whatever there may be height, and there are 6 students coming under this category. This is what the frequency. So frequency is a number of times an observation is repeated. Same way here also under 150 to 160 centimeter category, how many students will come? There are 5 students. So like that, this is what repetition. The number how many times repeated is known as, or observation is repeated, then we call it as a frequency. This is one example for a frequency. And the next one is example 2. Example 2 I will give. So the number of apples per box and the number of boxes. So here number of apples may be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and we wanted to know how many such boxes are there and we wanted to know. So there may be 7 and 6, 5, 3, maybe 2. So what is going to tell? So here we want how many apples or how many boxes containing 5 apples. ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಈಗ 5 apples ಇರುವಂತಹ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನೋಡಬೇಕು. So here this going to represent the number of boxes. Here 5 apples ಇರುವಂತಹ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? 7 ಇದೆ. Not only one, there are 7 boxes containing how many apples? 5 apples. Like that. And how many boxes containing 6 apples? Here 6 boxes containing 6 apples. The same way, it is the number of times an observation is repeated is called as a frequency. If you understand frequency, then you can easily define frequency distribution. So this is what frequency. Then let me discuss frequency distribution. So frequency distribution is nothing but it is a systematic presentation of the values taken by a variable and corresponding frequency is known as a frequency distribution. So frequency distribution is systematic presentation of the values taken by a variable corresponding frequency is known as a frequency distribution. So here what does it mean? Here it is since it is a distribution, since it is a presentation, we have to represent it in a systematic manner. So it is a systematic presentation. How we can present it in a systematic manner? By constructing the table. Table ಮುಖಾಂತರ ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು? Systematic way ಅಲ್ಲಿ present ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಯಾವದನ್ನ systematic way ಅಲ್ಲಿ present ಮಾಡಬಹುದು? Variables and what along with the frequency. Here variables are nothing but what? Variables are we can easily measure in terms of numbers, right? Basic concept session ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಅದನ್ನ explain ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ. Variables are nothing but the quantitative characteristic which varies from unit to unit, correct? So here variables and along with what? Along with the frequency is known as a frequency distribution. So here frequency and explain ಮಾಡುವಾಗ example ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ. So it is nothing but frequency distribution. Here the frequency table. So I have constructed the table here that is I write here. So here the table showing or the frequency distribution representing the number of apples, number of apples per box. Here that means apples per box and number of such boxes. So here I can represent these information in a systematic manner. ಇದನ್ನ ನಾನು random ಆಗಿ ಬರೀತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ systematic way ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ in terms of rows and columns I am going to represent it. So here our main intention is to get what number of apples or apples per box and how many such boxes are there we need to get it. So here how many apples ಈಗ ಒಂದು lot ಅಲ್ಲಿ 5 apples ಇರುವಂತ box, 6 apples ಇರುವಂತ box, 7 8 9 like this and anta ಎಷ್ಟು box ಇದೆ, so there may be a 6 7 then 5 3 2 like this. So this is the systematic manner. This is variables, we call it as a x. So easily we can express in terms of numbers alva. So this is what variable and this is corresponding frequency anta helidre enu idu ಎಷ್ಟು times repeat agide 6 times or 7 times like that. This is the repetition of such boxes. Got it? So this is what known as a frequency distribution. Okay, so this is class frequency. Frequency, you know, frequency is a number of times an observation is repeated. So observation is repeated corresponding to particular class is known as a class frequency. ಇದು ಯಾವುದು frequency? ಈಗ 5 apples ಇರುವಂತಹ box ನ frequency ಎಷ್ಟು 6 ಅಲ್ವಾ. This is class frequency corresponding to what box containing 5 apples. So 7 is a class frequency of 6 apples per boxes. This is the meaning of class frequency. Is that clear? And the next thing, under frequency distribution itself there are two types. One is a discrete and another one is continuous frequency distribution. You know what is discrete variable and continuous variable ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. Relating to that itself we are going to represent frequency distribution. Okay, try to recall students. What is meant by discrete? Discrete is nothing but it assumes only specific values or certain values only it can take. Correct? Andre particular ಒಂದು number ಅನ್ನು ಮಾತ್ರ consider ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನದು discrete frequency or discrete variable. For example, ಈಗ ಏನು number of children ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ನಮಗೆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಹೋಲ್ ನಂಬರ್ 3 2 0 like that we can tell in terms of full number. So whereas continuous frequency is nothing but it can assume all the possible values within the certain range. ಈಗ ನಾನು ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ, height of the students in a classroom in terms of centimeters ಇಷ್ಟು 140 to 150 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅಲ್ವಾ. 140 to 150 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ಏನದು between these two ranges the height of the students ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದು ಕೂಡ ಇರಬಹುದು. 141 ಇರಬಹುದು or else 142.5 ಇರಬಹುದು, whatever it may be the height of students. Okay, so it should contain within that range. So such type of distributions is known as a continuous frequency distribution. So there are two types under frequency distribution itself. Discrete and another one is continuous frequency distribution. Under this one is a discrete discrete, and another one is a continuous frequency distribution. So in this, by constructing the frequency distribution or by framing the frequency distribution, if we consider the class interval, then we call it as a continuous. Suppose by framing the frequency distribution, if we are not considering the class frequency or class interval, then we call it as a discrete frequency distribution. So here by framing the frequency distribution, class intervals are not considered is known as discrete frequency distribution. See? So here the continuous frequency distribution, we are going to consider the class interval. Class interval and consider continuous frequency distribution. By framing the frequency distribution, class intervals are considered, then we call it as continuous frequency distribution. Continuous frequency distribution. So, what is meant by class interval here? Class interval anta helidre adralli lower and the upper limit should be there. Anta helidre enu alli ನಾನು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ 142 150 centimeters. So this is called it as a class interval. Within this interval, x can take or height of the students may be any number. ಅಲ್ವಾ? So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಒಂದೇ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂನ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ, I have given here range. That means 140 to 150 range ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಆ height ಇರುವ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ ರೇಂಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. But here we won't consider this type of interval. It is only specific values. Specific values ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ 0 1 2 3 any number. It is particular number only it can take. So such kind of frequency distribution is known as a discrete frequency distribution. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಯಾವುದು ಕೊಡಬಹುದು? ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ನಾನು ಪ್ರೀವಿಯಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅನ್ನು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಕೊಡಬಹುದು. or else you can take any other examples which is related to discrete distribution. So here I can give the marks of the students. Example for discrete is marks obtained or and the number of students. Here 0 1 2 3 4 5 up to 10, or you can take up to 5. So how many students? 0 scored. There may be one student scored 0 marks in the examination, and 2 students have scored 1 mark, and 5 students have scored 2 marks. Like that, 4 3 2 students have scored 5 marks. This is in this case I have not considered class interval. Correct? ನಾನು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ರೇಂಜ್ ಅನ್ನು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. Here it only assumes specific values. Certainly one value it can take. So such kind of distributions is known as a discrete distribution. Whereas continuous ಇದಾದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನಾನು class interval ಆಗ range ಅನ್ನು mention ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Two limit should be there. So here continuous frequency distribution. Example, here weight of students in terms of kgs and number of students. Weight is now change variable, 30 to 40 kg or 40 to 50 kg, 50 to 60 to 70, like this. So this is a systematic presentation of values taken by a variable. Weight is also one of the variable. So we can easily express in terms of numbers, right? So and here 3, 2, 1, 5. Like this, corresponding frequency is known as a continuous frequency distribution. Okay, this is about frequency distribution. Then, how we can construct discrete frequency distribution? How we can form discrete frequency distribution? Let us take. Now, ಎರಡು types ಇದೆ, ಒಂದು discrete and continuous. ಇದು ready ಇರುವ discrete distribution. But when the variables ಅಥವಾ raw data ಇದ್ದಾಗ ungrouped data ಇದ್ದಾಗ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಅದನ್ನ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ವೇ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಲ್ವಾ. ನಮಗೆ ಡೇಟಾ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಕೂಡಲೇ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಒನ್ಸ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ದಿ ಡೇಟಾ ಆರ್ ಏನು ಡೇಟಾವನ್ನು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದಾದ ನಂತರ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಹೋಗ್ತೇವೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಈಗ ರಾ ಡೇಟಾ ಇದೆ, ಆವಾಗ ಹೇಗೆ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡೋದು? ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಚೆಕ್. ನಾವು the formation of discrete frequency distribution. Formation of discrete frequency distribution. Formation of discrete frequency distribution. Okay. Now, here it can be constructed in a systematic manner by considering the table containing 3 columns. 3 columns ಅನ್ನು ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, discrete frequency distribution ಅನ್ನು show ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. So here once if we constructed the 3 columns or table containing 3 columns, ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನು ಫಿಲ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? Here in the first column after constructing the table containing 3 columns, in the first column you have to write the variables ಅನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ represent ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Variable or x. Okay, without repetition ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗಬಾರ್ದು, ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ 0 score, how many students have scored 0, then next 0 1 2 3, these are the marks of the students. That is without repetition you have to write it in the first column. And once you have done the first column, then move towards the second column. Second column containing what? Tally marks. So tally marks are strokes you can mark. Line you can draw like this. After 4th line, for the 5th line you can mark like this. For easy counting ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ, 4th ಲೈನ್ ಆದ ನಂತರ ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಲೈನ್ ಹಾಕ್ತೇವೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಕೂಡ ಹಾಕಬಹುದು. And the same, you can draw like this or you can draw like this also. Okay, same one and the same. So next fifth line, next sixth again ಮಾಡೋದು, sixth line ಅಥವಾ sixth observation ಗೆ here. Next ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ fourth ಆಯ್ತು, next like this. Okay, for easy counting you have to put the tally bars in front of the observation. And finally the third column containing frequency. Illi depending upon the tally bars, count the tally bars and write the numbers here. So here 1 2 3 4 and 5. So I can write it 5. These are all the frequency, and that means how many times the observation is repeated, it's going to tell. So this is what the construction of a frequency table, that is discrete frequency table. So ನಮಗೆ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಟೋಟಲ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು, it should be equal to the total observation. Total observation should be equal to the n equal to the total number of observation. So this is the construction part of the discrete distribution. Now let us study with the example how we can form the discrete distribution. Idu procedure. Next, with the help of a problem or example, we can solve the formation of the discrete distribution. Now, example, take down students. I'll dictate the question. In a survey of of 20 families in a certain locality, the number of children per family was recorded. So the data are as follows: 1 0 3 2 4 2 1 0 3 4 5 6 1 2 4 3 4 2 0 2. Here total 20 observations should be there because they have mentioned 20 families. Now here what we have to do, prepare discrete frequency table. So this is the question. So in the survey of 20 families in a certain locality, number of children per family was recorded. ಇಲ್ಲಿ observation ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Observation ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಹೇಗಿದೆ ಇದು, raw data or ungrouped data. So our main intention is to present it in a systematic manner. How many students or how many families are having 0 children, 1 children, 2, like that. How many children idare anta nodebeku. So let me construct discrete frequency distribution. So these are the information which is given in the question. Now let us form the table. Now I'll form the table. So here table containing how many columns? I have mentioned table containing 3 columns. 3 columns ಇರಬೇಕು. Here the table showing table representing table solution table representing number of children per family. Okay, now here first we need to consider the table containing 3 columns. And write the observation here 1 0 3 2 4 2 1 0 3 4 5 6 1 2 4 3 4 2 0 2. Yes. Now here table showing number of children per family containing 3 columns. In the first column variables, that means number of children per family it is x. Then in the second column tally bars or tally marks here, and in the third column frequency. It is denoted by F, and here number of children per family, or it is denoted by X. Now in this observation here 0 is there, 1 2 3 4 5 6. ಈಗ gap between least observation and the highest observation not too much ಅಲ್ವಾ. 0 ಮತ್ತೆ 6 ಗೆ gap ಇರೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. So I can take direct value 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 and the total. So you can represent like this. Now here tally bars ಹೋಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ I have mentioned after 4th line for the 5th observation you have to mark like this. Then now count the zeros, or else you can first observation here first tally bars, then second observation is 0, put another tally bar. Next third observation is 3, here 3, let us draw one line here. Next second observation that next second observation is 2, here first tally bar, then fourth first tally bar, or else this is the one way of putting the tally bars, or else in another way you can count 1 2 3 1 2 3. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಕೌಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೂಡ ಬರೆಯಬಹುದು. ಎಷ್ಟು zeros ಇದೆ? 1 2 and 3 zeros. That means 3 tally bars. Next 1 ಎಷ್ಟು observations ಇದೆ? 1 repetition 1 2 3. Again here 1 2 3. And second observation second ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಕೌಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ 1 2 3 4 and 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth line, after fourth line, how we can draw? Fifth line, you can draw like this. Next, third observation. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 here. 1, 2, 3. Yes. 1, 2, 3. And fourth observation. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, fifth observation is to then count my 1. Only one observation is there. 1. Next, sixth observation is to then check my here. Only one observation is there. Now, you can write the frequency here. Yesterday, numbers are tally bars and count my 1, 2, 3. Next, again here 1, 2, 3. Next, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next, 1, 2, 3 observations. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again here 1 and 1. Now, the total should be equal to the, or total of this should be equal to the number of observation. So here, ಎಷ್ಟು observations ಇದೆ ಅಂತ check ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20. So 20 total should be equal to 20. So here I have mentioned in the beginning 20 families. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು frequency ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 20 families ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವ number of children 0 ಇರುವ families ಎಷ್ಟು ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ 3 and 1 ಇರುವ families ಎಷ್ಟು 3. Next 2 children ಇರುವ family ಎಷ್ಟು 5. So like that 6 only one family is there. This is the formation of the discrete frequency distribution. Okay, so the three columns containing 3 columns. The first column variables and the second column tally bars and the third column frequency. So this is the formation of the discrete frequency distribution. So in today's class we have discussed the types of frequency distribution and the formation of discrete frequency distribution we have studied. In the next class, I will be discussing the formation of continuous frequency distribution. I hope you guys have understood this concept. In the coming session, I will be discuss another concept. Thank you.